Welcome back, and tonight I'm going to make beef stroganoff, and let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is cut up some mushrooms, and I've rinsed them off, and so let's get this going. I'm going to show you, I'm going to cut up a whole bunch of mushrooms, but I'm going to show you the thickness. Okay, so I'm just going to continue to cut these up, and then I'll show you how many I have. Okay, so I have a generous amount of mushrooms here, and they shrink up, so it's a good idea to make sure you have plenty of mushrooms. And now I'm going to cut up a white onion. Hope everybody's having a good day. All right, so I'm going to just dice this up. I'm going to set that aside with my mushrooms. That is a strong onion. I can feel it already. All right. Now, the next thing is, I'm just going to use, tonight I'm going to use some minced garlic that's already minced. I'm going to set that aside. So I remember to take it over the stove. And now let's start cutting up the meat. So, on the meat, you need, what I have tonight is I have some New York steaks boneless. And you need whatever cut of meat you grab, make sure it's very tender. So you need a tender cut of meat, and I'm going to fill this bowl full of meat. So I'm just going to trim off the fat. I'm just going to cut it up in nice size pieces. I'm going to show you how small. You can go a little bit bigger if you want. I like to cut them smaller because then they cook a lot faster. So I'm just going to continue to cut these up. And I want to mention tonight that my husband, when we first got married, taught me how to make this dish. And some of the spices that are in this dish are actually in a Simon and Garfunkel song. And the spices are parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And I also personally add black pepper. And of course, I have the fresh onions and garlic. So I'm going to continue to cut up the meat, and we'll check back in just a few. Okay, so we have this much meat, and then we have this much mushrooms and onions, and the mushrooms will shrink. And then I have a package of pasta. Now, traditionally, you would use wide egg noodles. Tonight, I'm going to use this type of pasta, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. And I think it'll taste just fine, because you could use whatever type of pasta you happen to have in your house is perfectly fine. This is like curly pasta, and it should taste really good with this stroganoff. Now, as far as the spices, again, let's set that aside so it doesn't. I'm going to just put some in this bowl here. I'm going to measure it out because I think it'll be easier than trying to add all the spices while I'm cooking. So about that much. And then crushed rosemary. So you need crushed rosemary for sure. I'm just going to measure some out into the cap. Need a lot of rosemary, kind of. Okay, it smells very good. on there. So we got our parsley, our rosemary. We need some thyme. And we need some sage. And I'm just going to kind of mix this up. And then we definitely need black pepper. And I'll probably add more black pepper later. Oh, it's actually going straight through there. Let's try to add it this way. Okay. So this way I can just, oh, I guess I poured some, I know where my black pepper went. It's right there. Okay. Somehow I poured it out of the bowl. Okay. We don't want to go too crazy. All right. We will see. If I'm not making a mess, I'm not cooking. Okay. So then we're going to need some butter, and I got some oil over at the range top, and I got some minced garlic that we're going to put over there. I want to say again that you do need definitely some tender meat to do this dish, otherwise you'll be doing a lot of chewing. So let's get over to the range top. By the way, I did start the water. It should be boiling soon so I can add the pasta, and we'll go to the range and start cooking this up. Okay, so I'm just heating up my cast iron skillet. So when it gets warm, I'll put in some oil and some butter. So we just need to wait a few. Okay, so let's add some butter. And I'm going to add a little bit of oil also, because I'm cooking in a cast iron skillet and it kind of needs to have some regular oil. So do that. And the first thing I'm going to cook is the vegetables. So I'm going to cook this probably on a medium heat. As soon as that, I'm going to add the mushrooms and onions as soon as that butter finishes melting. All right. And I'm going to add about that much garlic. That smells good. Okay, so I'm just going to stir this around really well, and I'm going to let it cook a little before I add the spices, because I don't want the spices to burn. So I'm going to keep on stirring this, and we'll check back in just a few. Okay, so you can tell that the mushrooms are starting to shrink down a little. I'm going to add some of the spices. I'm not adding it all yet, because I'm saving some for the meat. Okay, so about half. And then I will stir this up. I'm going to increase the heat by just a little bit. And as you can tell, this is shrinking, like I said it would. And we do want to put a nice brown on this. So I'm going to continue to cook it, and we'll check back in just a few. Okay, so my water is at a rolling boil, and I'm going to add my pasta. And then I put a little bit of oil in the water, and I will occasionally stir it around. And let's check on our mushrooms and onions. Okay. So those are starting to brown nice. It's looking really good. getting close. I'm going to turn the heat off on this because the cast iron skillet will stay hot. And it is almost done. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to actually stir my pasta for a second. Okay. Multitask here. Okay, so I'm going to take this out and prepare the skillet for the meat. I'm going to take a spoon because I want to make sure I have all of it. That shrunk already. I'm definitely glad I had a lot of mushrooms. You want to make sure when you go to the store that you get plenty of mushrooms. Alright, so now let's add a little bit of oil back in, and let's add some butter. Because we want it to have a really nice brown. And we are going to turn the heat back up in just a minute here. Okay, I'm going to go grab the meat. Okay, now it's time to add the meat. And we're going to put a nice brown on the meat as well. I'm going to just keep on stirring this up. And we will check on it in just a few. Okay, so I browned the meat a little. It's still cooking. It still needs to be browned some more, but now it's time to add the rest of that seasoning. Get it all stirred up nicely. And it already is smelling quite delicious. Okay, now I'm just going to kind of let it sit. It's mixed up pretty well. And I'm going to keep on mixing it, but right now I'm just going to let it set a little. And we just need to be a little patient, and we'll check back in just a few. Okay. So now I'm going to reduce my heat to low. Pretty much. I'm going to add my mushrooms and onions back in with the meat. Now I'm going to switch to the spoon. I'm going to mix this all together, and this smells absolutely delicious. And now when I get to this point, I'm going to turn it up a little. I'm going to add some sour cream, and I'm going to add about 16 ounces of sour cream, or until it's all covered. You'll see what it looks like. Okay, let's mix it up and check it out. And I got it like on, I went from low to kind of medium, but the sour cream is going to cool everything down. And you want to make sure that it's all covered in the sour cream. We're making a very savory sauce for this meat. And we're also waiting on our noodles, because everything's going to get combined. This is a delicious comfort food. fancy comfort food. Okay, I'm just going to add a tiniest bit more sour cream. Just a little bit more. Last bit on the spoon, and so it turns into kind of like this brown. Looks brown now. You can see all the wonderful, delicious spices. And now I'm just going to leave this kind of to simmer on low for just a few minutes while I check on my noodles here. And let's check out the noodles. Oops. Something fell, but it's okay. All right. Let's check out these noodles. Oops, sorry. There. Now we're checking out the noodles. Okay, I'm going to check them out and then I'll get back with you on that. Okay, so I am going to drain this. Strain it. Okay. So, if you happen to see one of these at the store and you don't already have one, or you find it online, I would recommend getting it. It's awesome for pasta. I use it to clean my salad makings and everything, but this is great because there's a big gap between the sink and your pasta, which is really good. All right, so we are going to put this back into the pot. Get all the water out. And pour it in here. And I will meet you back at the stovetop. Okay, I want to mention again that traditionally you would serve this with egg noodles. But either way, these noodles are these are kind of fun. And my granddaughter likes these noodles. Either way, you're going to mix the noodles together with the meat. You don't serve it on top, you actually mix it together, so I will show you that. And I'm sure to get all the sauce. Okay, well, I'm going to keep on adding this. Okay, so now we're just going to stir it all up. This is smelling delicious, like I said. And I think I got plenty of all the ingredients. Sometimes I end up adding more black pepper, but I definitely think I have enough. And I'll have it handy on the table just in case we decide it needs a little bit more. Or when I do the taste test, I'll know for sure. But we seem to have plenty of spices in here. The whole house smells absolutely delicious. And this is always a family favorite. And when I've served it to friends before, they definitely wanted the recipe for sure. So now they can watch my YouTube channel and they can see how I make this. All right, so I'm going to let this cool down. I'm going to put some in a bowl, let it cool down a little, and then we'll do the taste test. All right, so now it's time for the taste test. Can't wait to try it. Smells delicious. Absolutely delicious. Those spices blend so well together. What a wonderful flavor profile. And this is a very savory, delicious comfort food. When you eat it, it's like you got a warm hug. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. For those of you who subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. If you don't, I hope that you do. And have a great evening, and thanks for watching.